Okay, thank you. So that money is from the state program, so that's not something we control here local, or we suffer the consequences. But let me tell you my approach. I believe we need to change our reputation as a city from a place where people come here because they think they can be homeless here and we leave them alone and they can live a good life, to a place where we're going to make it inconvenient for you to be homeless in tenant encampments and in RVs on our streets. And so to me, it's about a different approach. And same thing I think about the drug crisis, those doing fentanyl. We did meet someone the other month who flew from Hawaii to live in the Tenderloin because he heard that we leave them alone, they can do drugs and we leave them alone. We need to change our reputation, and the only way that we do that is to make that lifestyle inconvenient. So when I did that when I was mayor before, in 6 months, we approached people, again, offer shelter or housing, but if they said no, we take their tents away. But we did it the first time, we did it the second time, and the third time. And finally, what happened mostly, they either went into shelter finally and they said okay, or they left San Francisco. And you know what? It's not solving their problem, it's not solving California's problem, but I'm gonna be the mayor of San Francisco, and I'm gonna solve our problem.
Yes.
And that will be my priority.
Okay.
One last question.
We can do the second round question. Okay. All right.
I was yelled at by somebody in the street. So why you're in America? And then I happened to be very angry.
Offended.
And then I was like, my grandpa's grandpa were here, Bill and Railroad. And then my great uncle served the Air Force in the Second World War. You talking to the right person. But what you gonna do? Because I don't even know who to call to report that. What are we gonna do to stop the Asian hate?
Yeah.
And
If you want to stop the Asian hate,
okay,
Your question is how to stop the Asian hate.
what are we gonna do? What are you gonna do?
Yeah. So look, first of all, I'm sorry, right? That has no place in our country, let alone San Francisco. And racism has no place here in our city. But for me, around Asian hate in particular, and certainly the crimes that have been happening, that to me is one of the biggest kind of parts around public safety. You know, growing up in San Francisco, I say this often, the best part about growing up here, and I didn't realize it till I went away to college, was that I grew up with friends of every race, every ethnicity, every religion, and I didn't think it was different or strange. I thought it was normal. That's what everybody did. And I went to college in LA and realized, wow, that was really special. And you know what? The best part about raising our children here is they're getting to do the same things. I grew up Catholic. My children are Catholic. But they went to bar mitzvahs and bat mitzvahs. They celebrated Diwali. They celebrated Hindu traditions. And that's San Francisco, and that's what we're fighting to protect here. And for me, a big part of public safety is everybody individually as a whole, of course in our neighborhoods, people that visit here or work here. But it's populations that are important to San Francisco, right? Our Asian population. Let's go. This is over 35% of the city of San Francisco.
Huge.
A big part of our identity always. We've talked about it. I grew up spending a lot of time in Chinatown. I think I was the only guy who looked like me that was on the Chinatown YMCA basketball team. But to me, it's so offensive when we have a group of people in San Francisco that feel especially vulnerable from a safety perspective because of what they look like. That is so offensive to me, and such the exact motivation of why public safety to me is the number one issue. And people sometimes criticize me. Oh, that feels conservative. No, it's not. This is about protecting every single San Francisco resident. And it's about protecting our Asian community here in our city. And you know what? It's also about protecting people from Islamophobia or anti-Semitism. It's about all of that. And to me, all I can say is it's just a personal passion, and it really, really makes me so personally angry that type of dialogue exists in San Francisco. So it offends me, but also it offends me that the mayor doesn't take public safety as serious enough as she should, because this is the outcome. And that to me is what needs to change.
Can we make a hotline for somebody to call, an older generation to call Like, hey, if you that there was report
Yeah,
and
that's a
there's-
really good.
They
That's a really good idea.
have, but
Anti-Asian hate hotline.
it's called like a red hot, do nothing, okay? They have.
Excuse me.
Okay, Sophia. Sophia.
Excuse me.
How many more?
One. Okay, Mark. I've known you for over 10 years now. Here's the deal. What do you plan to be decisive in ensuring that the school system focus on merit, focus on rewarding hard work and dedication and achievement, as opposed to renaming schools and all this lottery and all this nonsense.
So thanks for that. Yeah, look, we have a separately elected school board, and they're going to do the renaming or what have you. But I'll say a few things. One, as mayor, I believe we need to speak out at that. Even though we don't control the school board, to me, you need to speak out as mayor because you lead the city of San Francisco when they're renaming schools and the children are not inside the classrooms themselves. That's so embarrassing for our city, right? It's part of our reputation because you know who CNN comments on that, Fox News comments, even MSNBC comments on how bad that is, right? And starts to ruin our reputation. Anything that does that, the mayor needs to step in and be proactive about that and say that's wrong and be the face of San Francisco. And they'll be the leader of San Francisco that we need. And oh, by the way, the sub-issues you talk about, the fact that there was even a dialogue, that there continues to be, about should we have Lowell as a high-achieving school is wrong. Of course it should be. We should allow our families and our children to aspire to be great. And we should have that incentive there. The fact that we had to have a ballot measure to talk about should we have algebra in 8th grade? We should have it in 7th grade. Why don't we have it available to anybody that can academically achieve that? And so to me, that's the shift in San Francisco that we need. Our country used to be about greatness, and now it's about kind of meeting to the middle. And I still think we need to allow those incentives to exist for children to achieve academically, for parents to hopefully aspire to more for their children. And that is not wrong to think about. That's American to me.
Right on. Thank you, Mark.
Yeah.